What's up, everybody? Whoa, you wobbly. What's up, everybody? WestRoadSal here. Before I get this video started, which will be the review for WWE One Night Stand 2007, I would like to give a shout out to Mr.Mcmahon 87. He's a good friend of mine on YouTube. He's got 10 subscribers in 2 weeks. He's moving pretty fast with the leaderboards, and watch his videos before he turns famous. Because you can't, if he turns famous, you can't say you knew him before he turned famous. So go watch his stuff now. So let's get started with this review. The first match was RVD versus Randy Orton in a stretcher match. Now, this was a pretty good match, you know. The match ended with Randy Orton. He was the heel. He was driving RVD up the ramp, but RVD slid off the stretcher, punted Randy Orton in the back of the head, and Randy Orton fell into the stretcher, and RVD rolled him up for the win. But after the match, Randy Orton actually beat up on RVD to the point where he did a DDT off the barricade. It looked pretty brutal, if you ask me. So, I mean, RVD won, but Randy Orton came out looking stronger. If you ask me, it's not good to have that type of match because you're trying to sell the winner, but then you go ahead and push the heel. You know, it's a contradiction. You know. We have a promo then of Vince and Shane in the back. Vince is talking about his upcoming match against Bobby Lashley, and he's saying how this match against Lashley, he has a bad feeling against it. The next match we have is CM Punk, Tommy Dreamer, and Sandman, which is really exciting, seeing them all back together, versus Elijah Burke, who in TNA was the Pope, Matt Striker, and Marcus Cordovon. Marcus Cordovon in TNA in 2004, his name was Monty Brown, if you guys remember him. You probably do. Marcus Cordovon, he looks slower in this match, and even he does a powerbomb, you know, he doesn't look as strong as he used to be. Granted, it's 5 years ago, I think, so 5 years after TNA, you know. So CM Punk's showing great skill already, you know, in this match. He was in the Indies, but he's still looking pretty damn good in this match against like the top wrestler in this match. I would have to say CM Punk. Not a fantastic match, but it was pretty fun to watch, you know. It was a little disorganized. You can tell, like, they were, like, just doing it for the hell of it. There was, like, no real thing to gain. Like, it was sort of a, I don't want to say this because it's a little insulting, but a Legends match for, like Tommy Dreamer and the Sandman versus the three stupid heels, so to speak, of that time. Gave it a 3 out of 5. The Randy Orton match versus RVD gave it a 3 out of 5 as well. The next promo was Edge and Randy Orton in the locker room. Randy Orton saying that since he destroyed Rob Van Dam and Shawn Michaels, he's coming after Edge if he wins the title later tonight. The match upcoming after that was the Hardyz versus the World's Greatest Tag Team. The Hardyz were the champions, and the World's Greatest Tag Team were the contenders. Jeff looks better now, and Matt looks better in this pay-per-view from 2007, you know. So times change, people's change, you know. Standoff with all 4 ladders in different corners, like the 2 Hardys and the Shelton Benjamin, Charlie Haas. They both have ladders in each corner, so it's pretty good with standoff, but you don't get nothing from it. They just like start. I think one loses a ladder somehow. So, I mean, the standoff was great, but it didn't get anywhere. Slow match, not like a couple of years ago, like it's could have been. You know, they were all in their prime. In this match, they were not. You know, it was like a reunion, so to speak. Could have been. There was some brutal spots with the ladder, though. World's Greatest Tag Team was good with pure wrestling, while the Hardys were good with weapons. So it was 2 different styles fighting each other. You know. Hardy's were dominating with the ladders, you know. Oh, forgot to tell you, there was a botched move in this match that actually got the crowd to do boos. Yeah, it's pretty funny. I wrote down, JR called Charlie Haas the Rainbow Warrior. It's a little funny, if you ask me. Our Raiders match was 3 out of 5 as well. It was good, but not as good as it could have been if it was done a couple of years ago. We have a promo now with Khali speaking a foreign language, and then the manager says the translation for the upcoming match. Last match is Khali versus John Cena for the championship, for the WWE Championship. Now, the next match we have It was a waste of time. Waste of time. Kane versus Mark in a LumberJack match. There was 12 LumberJacks, with some of the LumberJacks being Chris Benoit, Kevin Thorne, Santino. Santino actually had a better gimmick than he has now, with the stupid cobra up his arm. So stupid. Should have just kept the gimmick as the way it was, you know. Mark Henry won. Bear hug, believe it or not, on Kane. Not great. It was not terrible. I gave it a 2 out of 5. Both big, strong men. Obviously, it was going to be a slow match. There was no lightweight wrestlers in this match. It was slow. It really had no point because you know how they give promos before every match to lead up to the story? There was basically no story. This match could have been a bathroom break. Really, it could have been. Next, we have a promo in the back with World's Greatest Tag Team from the match before with the Hardy Boys in the doctor's room or the medical room. Both of them are healing up, but they start fighting again. So what was the point of the match if they're gonna just start fighting again? Now it's gonna be another feud. I don't know. Mr.Mcmahon versus Bobby Lashley next. Sorry, getting over a cold, like I said in the previous videos. It turns out to be a 3-on-1. As soon as the bell rings, Shane McMahon and Umaga come in. It was supposed to, they were selling it all night as a 1-on-1. And then as soon as the bell rings, Shane and Umaga come in. But believe it or not, Lashley wins. Lashley wins by, how do I say it here? Spears McMahon, of course. Because they want to push Lashley over as the big. I don't know what they did with it though. He wanted to quit. He wanted to actually quit. He wasn't fired. He wasn't released. He just wanted to be let go. So he asked for release and they gave it to him. The first 10 minutes of the match was boring. It was just a beatdown, you know. First thing of the match, Bobby Lashley throws himself over the top rope to hit Umaga. The only part of Bobby Lashley's body that hits Umaga is his leg. It was pretty funny to watch. I actually laughed at that. Hits McMahon in the chair, with the chair in his head 7 times, I have written down. So that's insane. Back then they didn't have the rule where you couldn't hit the person in the head. 2 out of 3 best spots were botched. You know, so. Alright, so we're coming to the last straw here. We have a Santino Maria interview from Josh Mezzo's in the back about the upcoming Diva pudding match. Yes, pudding match. Candice Michelle versus Melina. Women's Championship in a pudding match. It wasn't even a match. It was just sloppy, pushy shovey, you know, pushy shovey stuff. Candice Michelle wins by actually making Melina choke out in the pudding. I wasn't sure if she was choking from the pudding or actually choking from the submission. So 2 out of 5, entertaining for some people, I guess, because that's what they did mostly in the back then. 2 out of 5. Nothing really, you know how those Diva matches worked. Nothing. It was just for like the men, you know. The woman could have went out and bought merchandise or went to the bathroom, you know. The next match was Champion Edge versus #1 contender Batista in a steel cage. Obviously, they had the selling points where one would run up and then the other would grab his leg and they would like start struggling to get them back, you know. Promo first, not too exciting. First thing, Edge wants to leave. Obviously, he's the heel. Considering his fight stenosis, you feel every bump that Edge gets. Bumps, they were constant. 3 pushes Batista right into the cage. They were constantly shoving each other, you know. The match ends by both of them going for the door of the cage. Edge gets out before Batista, barely. Good match, a lot of bumps, a lot of spots. Edge spider. Oh yeah, I remember this. Batista's doing a Batista bomb to Edge, but when, believe it or not, Batista has Edge on his shoulders, Edge does a spider jump onto the wall over Batista. It's a pretty cool spot if you ask me. 4 out of 5. Now the last match of the night for the WWE One Night Stand 2007 is John Cena versus the Great Khali in a Falls Count Anywhere for the WWE Championship. The last match was for the World Heavyweight Championship. Yes, it was. John Cena, with Cena, a lot of camera cuts. Oh man, a lot of camera cuts. They didn't even I don't even think they paid attention to how many camera cuts did in this match. They did an awful lot, you know. Starts off with destruction of Cena's slow thought, because Khali's slow lighting just went away. Can't believe that. And they actually hold off an empty spot of the crowd, so since it's false count anywhere, Khali and Cena go to fight in that area, you know. They end up with fighting near believe it or not, a crane, you know. John Cena does an F.U. of Great Khali. You know, John Cena has strength. John Cena, like, he's got, like, good muscles, and he's a good person. But, in my opinion, I don't like his gimmick. But let's say that for another video, you know. John Cena does an F.U. of the Great Khali off the crane onto the ground. It looks pretty good, but Khali, you can notice this. Khali, I don't even think he realizes that this was Cena's finishing move for the night. Khali actually starts to get up. But Cena right away goes on Khali for the pin. He notices Khali is starting to get up, so Cena goes for the pin. So, it was a good match, but it was a generic Cena match. So I gave it a 3.5 out of 5. So this was my review for the WWE One Night Stand 2007. More videos will be coming. I'll be bringing more things. Tell me what kind of videos you want to see. Write down in the comments below. Rate, comment, subscribe. Thanks for watching. Peace.